They say it takes a village to raise a child. But sometimes that village harbors predators dressed as mentors, and it takes just one person to burn the whole facade down. My name is Tyrone Mitchell. I am 18 years old, and I am the reason Coach Williams is serving 15 years in federal prison. Before you call me a hero, you should know that for months I watched my sister disappear into herself while I told myself I was imagining things. Heroes act immediately. I acted almost too late. Destiny, you ready? We're going to be late for practice. I called up the stairs on a Tuesday evening in February. It was the same call I had made 3 times a week for the past 6 months. Ever since my 16-year-old sister made the varsity basketball team at Martin Luther King High School in Chicago. I am not going, she called back. I climbed the stairs to her room. She was sitting on her bed, still in her school clothes, her practice bag unopened in the corner. You sick? No. Then what is it? Coach Williams will be mad if you miss practice. At the mention of his name, she flinched. It was subtle, just a slight tightening around her eyes, but I saw it. I had been seeing a lot of things lately that did not add up. I just do not want to go anymore. Anymore? Des, you love basketball. You have been playing since you were 8. You are the starting point guard on varsity as a sophomore. Coach says you have potential for a full scholarship. I do not care what Coach says. Since when? She did not answer, just pulled her knees to her chest and stared at the wall. This was not the sister I knew. The Destiny I knew was loud, confident, always talking trash on the court and backing it up with her game. She lived for basketball, breathed it, dreamed about playing in the WNBA. Des, talk to me. What is going on? Nothing. I am just tired. Tired of what? Everything. That was when I really looked at her. Not just a glance, but really looked. She had lost weight, her face gaunt where it used to be full. Her eyes had dark circles that makeup could not quite hide. Her normally perfect hair was pulled back and messy. She looked like someone who was not sleeping, not eating, not living, just existing. Is someone bothering you at school? No. Is it about a boy? No. Is it about basketball? That flinch again. Stronger this time. Des, if something is happening at practice. Nothing is happening. She stood up abruptly. I just do not want to play anymore, okay? Why cannot you just accept that? Because that is not you. Because 2 months ago you were talking about basketball camps for the summer. Because you have ball is life literally written on your notebooks. Because something changed and you will not tell me what. Maybe I just grew up. Maybe I realized there are more important things than a stupid game. Like what? Like surviving. The word hung in the air between us. Surviving. Not living, not thriving, not enjoying. Surviving. Surviving what? She looked at me for a long moment, and I saw her almost break, almost tell me everything. Then Coach Williams' car honked outside. He is here to pick me up, she said quietly. Since when does he pick you up? I always drive you. He said it was on his way. Said it was no trouble. Another red flag. Coach Williams lived on the north side, completely opposite direction from our south side neighborhood. Nothing about picking up Destiny was on his way. I will drive you today, I said. He is already here. Then he can leave. I went downstairs and out the front door. Coach Williams was in his black Tahoe, windows tinted, music playing. He rolled down the window when he saw me. Tyrone, how is college prep going? Marcus Williams was everything a coach should be on paper. 35 years old, former college player, clean record, married with 2 kids. He had taken King High's girls' team from last place to city champions in just 3 years. Parents loved him. Teachers respected him. The principal called him the best hire she ever made. It is going fine, coach. I will be taking Destiny to practice today. His smile tightened. No need, I am already here. I insist. Team bonding happens on the rides, Tyrone. It is important for chemistry. Her chemistry with me is more important. We stared at each other, and for just a moment his mask slipped. I saw something in his eyes that made my stomach turn. Possession. Anger. Threat. Suit yourself, he said finally. Tell Destiny she better not be late. He drove off, and I stood there trying to process what I had just felt. It was not concrete, nothing I could point to and say, this is wrong. But every instinct I had was screaming. Destiny came out 5 minutes later, dressed for practice, but moving like she was heading to an execution. You did not have to do that, she said. Do what? Challenge him. I was not challenging him. I was just saying I would drive my sister to practice like I always have. He does not like when people change his plans. Then he needs to be more flexible. The drive to school was quiet. I kept glancing at Destiny, trying to figure out what was wrong. She used to talk nonstop on these drives, breaking down plays, discussing team drama, planning how she was going to dominate whoever they were playing next. Now she just stared out the window. Des, you know you can tell me anything, right? I know. I mean anything. No matter how bad or scary or complicated. I know, Ty. And you know I will always protect you. She was quiet for so long I thought she was not going to respond. Then, so quietly I almost missed it, she said, some things you cannot protect me from. Practice was in the main gym, visible through the door windows. I sat in the hallway doing homework, but really watching. Everything looked normal at first. Coach Williams running drills, blowing his whistle, shouting instructions. The team responding, running plays, looking like any other high school basketball team. But then I started noticing things. How Coach Williams always seemed to be touching the players. A hand on a shoulder, an arm around a waist, adjusting their form in ways that required full body contact. How he called certain girls over for individual instruction, while the others ran laps. How those girls came back looking uncomfortable, adjusting their practice uniforms. And Destiny, how she stayed as far from him as possible during team huddles. How she partnered with different players to avoid his demonstrations. How she was the only one he never touched, like there was an invisible barrier between them. That night at dinner, our grandmother asked about practice. We lived with Grandma Rose since our parents died in a car accident 5 years ago. She was 72, tough as nails, raised 8 kids, and was now raising us with the same no-nonsense love. How was basketball, baby? She asked Destiny. Fine. Just fine. You were usually talking my ear off about crossovers and pick and rolls. It was just practice, Grandma. Coach Williams still helping you with that scholarship stuff? Destiny's fork clattered onto her plate. I am not hungry anymore. She left the table, went to her room, and locked the door. Grandma looked at me. What is going on with that girl? I do not know, but something is not right. Is it boy trouble? I do not think so. Girl trouble. Grandma. What? It is 2025, baby. Love is love. It is not that kind of trouble. Then what kind? The kind that makes a girl who loves basketball want to quit. Grandma's eyes narrowed. She might have been old, but she was not naive. She had lived through things, seen things, survived things. You keep an eye on her, she said. I am. Closer than you have been. Yes, ma'am. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about the way Coach Williams looked at me, the way Destiny flinched at his name, the way those girls adjusted their uniforms after individual instruction. I thought about all the times in the past 2 months that Destiny had come home from practice and gone straight to shower, even though she had already showered at school. The way she did her own laundry now, never letting anyone touch her practice clothes. The way she had stopped wearing shorts and tank tops, covering up even in the house. At 2 a.m., I heard her crying through the wall between our rooms. Not loud sobs, but quiet, muffled crying like she was trying to hide it even from herself. I knocked softly on her door. Des? You okay? Go away, Ty. I am not going anywhere. Please, just leave me alone. Not until you tell me what is wrong. Silence. Then the door opened a crack. Her face was puffy from crying, eyes red and swollen. If I tell you, you cannot do anything about it. What do you mean? Promise me. Promise you will not do anything. I cannot promise that without knowing what it is. Then I cannot tell you. She started to close the door, but I put my foot in the way. Des, whatever it is, we can handle it together. No, we cannot. He said no one would believe me. He said he would deny everything, and everyone would take his side because he is Coach Williams and I am just some girl from the South Side. My blood went cold. He? Coach Williams. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. What did he do? I cannot say it. But it is bad, Ty. It is really bad. And it is not just me. It is Keisha and Jasmine and the new girl, Maria. Maybe others. We do not talk about it, but we know. We all know. I wanted to get in my car right then, drive to Coach Williams' house, and beat him until he never touched another girl again. But that would not solve anything. That would just get me arrested and leave Destiny and the others still vulnerable. How long? Since November. After I made that game-winning shot against Lincoln. He said I had earned special training to develop my potential. 3 months. 3 months of this happening while I drove her to practice, while I sat in the hallway, while I thought everything was normal. We have to tell someone. No, you promised. I did not promise anything. We have to tell Grandma, the police, the school. The school knows. What? I tried to tell my guidance counselor, Ms. Peterson. She said I must be misunderstanding Coach Williams' training techniques. She said he was a respected member of the faculty with a perfect record. She said making accusations could ruin my future in basketball. Then we go to the police. With what word? It is my word against his. He is careful. Never leaves marks where people can see. Never does anything where others are around. Always has an explanation ready. Then we get proof. How? That was the question that kept me up the rest of the night. How do you prove something that happens in shadows, in moments stolen when no one is watching? How do you expose a predator who has the perfect cover, the complete trust of the community, the benefit of every doubt? The next day, I did something I am not proud of. I went through Destiny's things while she was at school. I found her diary hidden behind her bookshelf. I know reading it was a violation of her privacy, but I needed to understand what we were dealing with. The entries made me sick. She documented everything, not in explicit detail, but enough. The first time he kept her after practice for individual training. How he started with seemingly innocent touches, gradually pushing boundaries. How he told her she was special, that their training had to be secret because other players would be jealous. How he twisted her love for basketball into chains that kept her coming back. One entry from January stood out. He said if I tell anyone, he will say I came onto him. Who would believe me? He is Coach Williams. His team wins championships. I am nobody. I hate basketball now. I hate myself more. I took pictures of every page with my phone, then put the diary back exactly where I found it. I needed more than her words, though. I needed evidence that could not be denied or explained away. That is when I decided to set up cameras. I used my college savings to buy small, hidden cameras online. The kind people use for home security. Tiny things that could be hidden almost anywhere. I bought 4 of them and spent a week planning where to place them. The first opportunity came when I volunteered to help set up for the team's fundraiser in the gym. While everyone was busy with decorations, I hid one camera in the ventilation grate that overlooked Coach Williams' office. Another went in the equipment room where he often took players for equipment fittings. The third I planted in Destiny's gym bag, tiny enough to peek through a small hole I cut in the inner lining. The fourth camera was the hardest to place. I needed one in his car, where I suspected a lot of the abuse happened during those rides home. He insisted on giving certain players. I had to wait until a game night when his car would be in the parking lot for hours. During halftime, while everyone was in the gym, I jimmied his back door open, something I learned from YouTube videos, and placed the camera under the back seat, angled to capture both rows of seats. My hands shook the entire time, knowing that if I got caught, everything would be over. For 2 weeks, I collected footage. Most of it was nothing, just normal practice, normal conversations, normal coaching. But then came the evidence that made me want to throw up and commit murder at the same time. Coach Williams alone with Maria, the freshman who had just made the team. His hands where they should not be. Her frozen face. Him telling her this was how champions were made. Coach Williams with Keisha in the equipment room, door locked, her saying, "Please stop," and him saying, "You want that starting position, do not you?" Coach Williams in his car with a girl I did not recognize, maybe from JV, touching her while she stared straight ahead, dissociating from what was happening to her body. And then the worst one, Coach Williams with Destiny in his office after practice. She was trying to leave, he was blocking the door. She was saying she would quit the team, he was saying he would tell everyone she had been throwing herself at him, that he had text messages that would look bad out of context, that no college would recruit a player with that kind of reputation. The camera did not catch everything that happened next, but it caught enough. It caught her crying. It caught him approaching. It caught her saying no repeatedly. It caught enough to put him away. I made copies of everything, uploaded it to 3 different cloud services, put copies on USB drives. Then I went to the FBI, not the local police who might have connections to the school, but the federal authorities who handled crimes against children. Agent Rebecca Chin took my statement in a small, windowless room in the federal building downtown. "How long has this been going on?" she asked after viewing the footage. "At least 3 months that I know of. Maybe longer with other girls." "How many victims?" "At least 4 that I can identify. Maybe the whole team. He has been coaching there for 3 years. Why did not your sister come forward?" "She tried. The school did not believe her. He threatened her. She is 16 and scared. And you are 18 and her brother." "Yes. You did the right thing coming to us. It does not feel right. It feels like I waited too long. Most people never come forward at all. You got evidence. You protected your sister. You probably saved other girls. That is as right as it gets." The arrest happened the next morning at school. I kept Destiny home with a fake sick day, not wanting her to see it, but I went. I needed to see him taken down. FBI agents walked into the morning practice session. Coach Williams saw them and tried to run, which just made him look more guilty. They caught him in the parking lot, tackled him to the ground, handcuffed him in front of the entire team and half the student body who had gathered to watch. "This is a mistake," he kept shouting. "I am being set up. Someone is lying about me." The principal stood there in shock. Parents who had come to drop off their kids watched in horror. And the girls on the team, some of them cried with relief, finally seeing their nightmare end. The news spread through the South Side like wildfire. Coach Williams, the respected mentor, the championship winner, the community hero, was a predator. The evidence was overwhelming. The videos I recorded, combined with forensic evidence from his office and car, testimonies from victims who came forward after his arrest, and a search of his home that revealed a collection of inappropriate photos of players going back years. Destiny was furious when she found out what I had done. "You promised you would not do anything." "I never promised, and I could not just let it continue. You violated my privacy. You went through my things. You recorded me without permission. I did what I had to do to protect you. I did not ask you to protect me. You are my sister. I do not need your permission to protect you." She did not talk to me for 2 weeks. The other victims' reactions were mixed. Some thanked me. Others resented me for making their trauma public. The team was divided between those who knew and were relieved, and those who had no idea and felt betrayed that their hero was a monster. The school tried to do damage control. The principal claimed she had no knowledge of any wrongdoing. Ms. Peterson, the guidance counselor who dismissed Destiny's complaint, suddenly could not remember any conversation about Coach Williams. The athletic director insisted all proper protocols had been followed, but the investigation revealed a pattern of willful ignorance, complaints that were never documented, concerns from parents that were dismissed, red flags that were ignored because winning championships was more important than protecting children. The trial was brutal. Destiny and 3 other girls testified, having to relive their trauma in front of strangers. Coach Williams' lawyer tried to paint them as troubled teens making false accusations for attention. He tried to discredit the video evidence as illegally obtained. He tried to make Coach Williams the victim of a witch hunt. But the evidence was too strong. multiple victims with consistent stories, video proof that could not be explained away, a history of predatory behavior disguised as mentorship. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. 23 charges including sexual assault of a minor, abuse of authority, and creating child pornography. The judge sentenced him to 15 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole. His wife divorced him immediately. His own kids disowned him. The championships he won were vacated. His name was removed from every trophy, every banner, every record. It was like he had never existed except in the trauma of his victims. Destiny started therapy immediately after the trial. Grandma found her a good therapist who specialized in trauma from sexual abuse. It was hard at first. Destiny barely spoke in sessions, still carrying shame that was not hers to bear. "It is not your fault," the therapist would say. "I know," Destiny would respond, but knowing and believing are different things. Slowly, she started to heal, started to speak, started to reclaim her story. She joined a support group for survivors, found community with others who understood. She even started playing basketball again, just shooting around at first, then joining pickup games at the park, remembering why she loved the game before he poisoned it. The other victims had their own journeys. Keisha transferred schools, needed a fresh start. Jasmine quit basketball entirely, could not separate the sport from the trauma. Maria's parents homeschooled her for the rest of them, each of them healing in their own way, at their own pace. The school brought in a new coach, Ms. Anderson, a woman with strict boundaries and transparent policies. She instituted new rules: no closed-door meetings, no individual car rides, no contact outside of official practice hours. She rebuilt the program from the ground up, prioritizing safety over success. Some people in the neighborhood called me a hero for exposing Coach Williams. Others said I should have handled it differently, that I violated privacy laws, that I took justice into my own hands. Maybe they were right. Maybe there was a better way. But I could not watch my sister disappear into herself for another day while I waited for the system that had already failed her to suddenly start working. 3 years have passed now. I am 21, graduated from college with a degree in criminal justice. I work as an advocate for survivors of sexual abuse, helping them navigate the legal system, gathering evidence, being the support I wished Destiny had from the beginning. Destiny is 19, a sophomore at DePaul University studying psychology. She wants to be a therapist, to help other survivors the way her therapist helped her. She still plays basketball, just intramurals now, for fun rather than futures. She smiles again, real smiles that reach her eyes. We are closer now than ever. The anger she felt about my intervention transformed into understanding, then gratitude. She knows I did what I did from love, even if the methods were questionable. "You saved me," she told me recently. "You saved yourself. I just opened the door. You kicked the door down. It needed kicking. Thank you for not listening when I said to do nothing. Thank you for surviving long enough for me to figure it out." Coach Williams still has 12 years left on his sentence. Sometimes I check the prison records, make sure he is still there, still paying for what he did. I got a letter from him once, talking about forgiveness and redemption. I burned it without reading past the first line. Some people do not deserve forgiveness. Some acts do not merit redemption. The real heroes in this story are the survivors. Destiny, Keisha, Jasmine, Maria, and the others who came forward after. They faced their trauma in court, in therapy, in their daily lives. They refused to let one monster's actions define their entire existence. They reclaimed their bodies, their stories, their futures. I was just a brother who saw something wrong and could not ignore it, who loved his sister more than he cared about privacy laws or social norms, who decided that protecting children was more important than protecting reputations. If you are listening to this and something resonates, if you know something is wrong but do not know what to do, let me tell you what I learned. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Do not wait for perfect proof or perfect timing. Act with the urgency that children in danger deserve. Document everything. Keep records, save messages, gather evidence. Predators rely on silence and doubt. Evidence breaks both. Go to authorities who have the power and distance to act. Local systems often protect their own. Federal authorities have less invested in covering up local scandals. Be prepared for backlash. People do not want to believe that someone they respected is capable of evil. They will attack you for shattering their illusions. Stand firm in your truth. Support the survivors. The arrest is not the end, but the beginning of a long journey. They need therapy, understanding, patience, and love. They need to know that what happened to them does not diminish their worth. Most importantly, remember that protecting children is everyone's responsibility. It should not take an 18-year-old with hidden cameras to stop a predator with dozens of victims. Every adult who saw signs and stayed silent is complicit. Every system that valued reputation over safety failed. Grandma Rose put it best. Evil flourishes when good people see something and say nothing. You saw something and said everything. That is what family does. That is what humans do. That is what love looks like in action. My name is Tyrone Mitchell. At 18, I set up hidden cameras that exposed my sister's coach as a serial predator. He is serving 15 years in federal prison. My sister and other survivors are healing, growing, thriving. The community learned that heroes are not always who they seem, and that protection sometimes comes from unexpected sources. Some called what I did an invasion of privacy. I call it an investment in justice. Some said I should have let the system handle it. I say the system had its chance and failed. Some think I went too far. I think I did not go far enough, soon enough. But that is the nature of these situations. There is no perfect response to imperfect evil. There is only doing the best you can with the knowledge and resources you have, choosing the victims over the victimizer, choosing action over ignorance. Thank you for listening to our story. If you suspect a child is being abused, do not wait for them to find the words they might not have. Do not wait for systems that have already failed to suddenly succeed. Do not wait for someone else to be brave. Be the person who acts. Be the person who protects. Be the person who believes. Be the person who stops it. Because somewhere, right now, there is a child suffering in silence, thinking no one sees, no one cares, no one will believe them. They need someone to prove them wrong. They need someone to fight for them when they cannot fight for themselves. That someone might be you. And if it is, do not hesitate. Do not doubt. Do not wait. Act like their life depends on it. Because it does. There are more stories like mine, guys who refused to stay silent, who broke the cycle instead of repeating it. 2 of them are right here on your screen. Click the one that speaks to your own fight. And if you want to walk with a community that knows sometimes saving your family means stopping them, tap the bell. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.